Recording
Awesome.
now.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, cool. So do you want to kick us off, Jason? A little background of the partnership?
Yeah, sure. So background is, Lindsay and I had a conversation prior to Global when the state government here first launched an entrepreneur visa. South Australia is currently the only state in Australia that supports the visa. So there's a pilot program running here. It will ideally then expand in November and into next year to a nationwide visa. So just for this pilot program, we've got a tiny amount of money. They couldn't get themselves organised in time for Global, but hey, how you doing? Who we got? Is that Stella?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Mm.
So the pilot program is really just to try and let people know that the visa exists, and then a little bit of information about why South Australia is a cool place to start a company. And I can vouch for that because I've started a few companies here, and it's a really beautiful place, firstly, and there's a bunch of stuff happening in a city sense around high internet. There's a massive conglomeration of universities doing lots of R&D. The National Space Agency just launched here. There's a big defence and cybersecurity community, and we've got one of the top institutes of machine learning in the world outside, I think, of Israel and some of the stuff in the States. So there's lots of support for startups, and we just wanted to, instead of going out via our consulates and letting people know that the visa exists, in which case we invariably just get all migration agents harassing us to say, what does my client have to do to get a visa for this program? And we'd much rather come straight to the entrepreneur community via Startup Grinds Network and let people know this exists. And hopefully, in a startup VC kind of sense, generate good deal flow for the visa application so that we can get the best and brightest people who want to come out here to Australia and start a company in the lucky country. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. For those that don't know you, Jason, maybe you can just introduce yourself, like what chapter you're part of and your day.
Sure. I think I haven't met David before. David, how are you going? David, did you go to Global? I probably didn't get to meet everybody there. No?
David,
and Stella, were you at Global as well?
Yeah, hello.
How you doing? Cool.
Yeah, I'm from South Korea, and I'm a team member of Startup Grinds Seoul.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I've been the chapter director here in Adelaide in South Australia for the last year and a half, I guess. So I've been to 2 Globals and have enjoyed every minute of them, sometimes enjoyed them too much, but have made awesome relationships and lovely organisation, and we are running events here every month. We've got one coming up next week, and really wanting to sort of let the world know that our visa exists and see if we can get some people from each of your chapters to think, hey, it might be kind of cool to go and live and work in Australia. Some of the other things that the visa does is that you're not expected to have a product. You should have a business plan and show some ability to be able to execute on the business plan. If you've got a product and some traction, even better. And the other benefits it has is you can bring family out here with no dramas. Everyone gets a visa. If you've got a partner who is working while you work on your startup, your partner can work full time without any restrictions. And there's no requirement to bring any bunch of cash into the country, as is normally the case with most of the other visas that are on offer. So it's a really low barrier to entry as long as you're a genuine founder, entrepreneur trying to legitimately start a company and not just scam a visa. So that's the background to it. And then the small amounts of money that we've been able to distribute to all of the chapters who are involved is really just a pilot. So if this goes well, we would like to ramp up the campaign at a national level and hopefully push some more money into each of the chapters. And we have our events here, and we typically get from 40 to 80 people at every event, and we run sponsorships, and people just generally give us beer, wine, and food. and we sell tickets. So hopefully if there's a few $100s coming your way, it helps host the event and makes it worthwhile just to literally, do an email out to have us on your email about your next event, and a social post and anything you can say before the event saying, we need to thank our dear friends, Jason and his startup run team in South Australia for bringing us to South Australia. And something along those lines. I think we provided a script in there that sort of says, this is what the visa is and this is how it exists, and we'll provide everybody with the links where people can jump on, get some more information. I think there's even a brochure that people can download and they can apply or express interest. So my company in Australia is one of 4 incubators that helps the government assess the visa applications. So that doesn't mean I can guarantee all the startup grant people visas, but it does mean that we can help them work out what's a legitimate founder entrepreneur application versus somebody who just wants to come and live in Australia, because we tend to get lots of people want to come and live in Australia for some reason. Go figure.
Okay, that's awesome. So any questions from you guys so far? Make sense?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm looking at the A4 paper, trying to switch between the screens now. But yeah, that one, you have 2 options: one to show a video, or you do the presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So all of you should have seen this kind of one pager that just outlines the details of the partnership. So just what Jason explained, but if you forget any aspect of it or need to find a link or any of the copy for the newsletter or what to say on stage or the video, all of that is right here. For those of you, if you can't access Google Drive in your country or city, I did send out a PDF of the exact same thing you should be able to access. But essentially, these are the 2 main things you guys are responsible for, the newsletter and the intro on stage. We've added the logo to all of your chapter pages already. So that's already on there. It'll show up on your newsletters for the next 3 months that go out. All of that's already live. And we'll be doing a tweet from headquarters with the @StartupGrind handle that'll go out to all 600,000 followers around the world. We've got this Google Drive folder here that has anything you need. So that's where if you needed the logo, you have access to it, this whole one page of the deliverables, and then the brochure, the flyer that turned into a 16-page document, but those things happen. But if anyone wanted to read more, you've got that.
It makes you feel any better, I think only about 1 flyer's worth of copy in the whole thing. There's lots of pictures.
That's good. Okay. But that's all in here. We've got the copy for the newsletter right here, the link to the website that will take them, where directly to the page for Startup Down Under. And then here's the link to that brochure. So all of it can, it should be just right there ready for you to go. And then here's a little blurb of what you can do on stage. Stella's back, hopefully. And then the video option. If they wanted to do that in place of the onstage introduction, that's how it sounded like, Jason. Is that right? They could show the video?
Yeah, I mean, you could either do the video. I can't recall from the top of my head whether there's any narration in the video, if it's just...
It's short. It's really short. It's like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was built as more of a social thing. So you post the video and caption if there was any opportunity.
Okay. So we can put that down here. So then if you guys are interested in doing some social media, things that you can put are, things that you could say in your posts are right here as well. And then I know most of you, but you've probably seen my emails and correspondence. I'm Candace. I didn't even introduce myself to those of you that are new. Was on the community team, moved over to the sales team. So I'll just be helping, if you guys run into any issues or have questions, feel free to reach out to me, to Lindsay. Lindsay should still be on the call, but she's got to run to the airport eventually. Lindsay's our partnership manager here at Startup Grind.
Yes, I'm here. Feel free. Anyone can email me at any time if you need anything.
So the three of us are here to help you, and of course, Jason, if you need any help, all of our contact info is right here.
And Tony and I will be running things at our end. So any questions you have, feel free to shoot us a note. I'll make sure that you get our contact details if you don't already. But and Tony is usually the master in charge of helping set up for the events. I do the interviews, and so we work on that together with a couple others on the team as well. So we might even give a shout out. Anything we can do for you guys, let me know as well. I mean, if there's anything that you need people that come to our events to know about your chapters, let me know. We always talk about the Startup Grind network before we start the firesides. So we might give just personalised shout outs to you so that you can listen to your name on the
I think, so those are the details, but I think the key thing, Jason, is what you said at the beginning, that, if this goes well in your chapter, that there's, a larger sponsorship opportunity that's available, depending on how things roll out.
Yeah, so we just, all we want to see from what the government wants to see from a return on their investment is people from each of your chapters or cities applying for or expressing interest in the visa, and we will, and you can also say if there's any of your crew or guests that are interested that want to ask a question, you can just let them know, you can share our contact details if you like. And because Moonshine Lab, my incubator is one of those 4 assessment teams, they can even nominate for their application to be assessed by us, so that we can say, right, these guys have come via Startup Grind. We can see that they've got a body of work and are legitimate applicants, and we can help fast track our endorsement of those applications. So just, let them know there's a friendly face at this end of the application process, and is it friendly or is it angry?
What happened to your hair? You cut it off.
I lost a bet.
A question from Jens here. So, can we get? I mean, it's always interesting to follow up to see how many people who applied from Hong Kong and Singapore and so on, because we need to see the result. So, can we get a link so it tracks on your side, seeing that if they click in?
Good question. So I will always see in ours, we've got a login area at the end of the visa assessment process where I can see how many applicants nominate Moonshine Lab and where they've come from and their country of origin and all those sorts of things. So I can provide that data if my incubator is nominated as the community partner that they'd like endorsement from. If they come in and nominate one of the other university incubators, we could probably find that information out from the Immigration South Australia Government Department. So we should be able to quickly find out that information.
Yeah, because sometimes you can put tags on a link, so it basically on your side just tracks of how many people clicked in and looked at stuff, and so that was my thinking.
I think the link that they provide on the email blurb, they're tracking that through their analytics. So they're seeing through our email out how many traffic's coming from certain countries to their landing page.
So it sounds like there's already a campaign link
on the
attached to that destination landing page. So that'd be a good start. We can share that data for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll let you get back to whatever you're doing at 1 o'clock in the morning, Curtis, and we'll go from there.
I have a few more work emails to send. So.
That's fine. What are you doing in Iceland?
It was after Startup Grind. So I was at the Europe conference in London, and afterwards, on the way to the States, just Icelandair allows you a stopover. I'm like, well, I've always wanted to go to Iceland. So my friends from London joined me, and he flew back today, and I fly out Saturday. So, just spent the last 2 days down on the South Coast where they film Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And just drive around. I highly recommend it. It is a surreal and unbelievable country to visit. So, there's and if you fly Icelandair, that doesn't change the cost of your ticket to stop here. So why not?
Cool.
And Fly from Cleveland, go figure.
How about that? Nice.
Sadly, not Cincinnati, but
They canceled that one. They used to have Cincy. I think they canceled it.
yeah, or Wow Air was the budget one that
Yeah.
went down or something. So yeah. Today and tomorrow, just catching up on work, basically.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much, guys, and look forward to kicking things off. Just whenever your next event is, if we could do it then, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll have my next one on Sunday, so I'll practice it then.
Awesome. Thanks. Cheers.
Can we ask some questions?
Of course. Yeah, David.
Yeah, sorry, I was traveling. I didn't notice the camera is still on, so we can keep it off. I'm chasing the speed rail. So question is, because we're pretty familiar with our government startup visa and Japanese startup visa, and I will soon go to Thailand to learn about their startup visa. We are also incubator, accelerator, launchpad, so we have a lot of experience helping teams going inbound and outbound. So typically when we promote this, we tend to get a bit more question that is asked. So I would like to know if we can get more information about type of industry, your launchpad programs, what are the potential subsidies. That will give us a more support in promoting this.
Yeah, sure. So in short, there is no cash subsidy. Each of the incubators that help assess the applications generally provide some desk space for the people that land here. As we said, there's no requirement for bringing in cash, and you and any partner or family member get full work rights. So even an entrepreneur who needs to work to sustain their living while they work on their startup can still do so. The fields or industry sectors that they are most interested in, things around ag tech, cybersecurity, machine learning. I think just generally digital, high growth startups in general. Space is certainly a focus, but we've had people from as diverse as doing sustainable straws to all the way through to people planning to do med tech, AI around insurance claims on unnecessary medical tests. So there's a pretty broad spectrum, and we're more interested in just finding super smart people who are keen to come and live our lifestyle, but also make sure that they've got the facility and support structure around them when they get here to help make their company a success.
Jens here, a question. How easy is it to sort of, for example, Hong Kong, extremely easy to set up a company, quite difficult to get a bank account. So how is it for somebody to come down to Australia to set up the bank accounts and all that stuff around it? Okay,
so the bank account's quite easy. You can register a business name and set up a bank account without too much trouble. Setting up a company is something that typically takes or requires a resident who normally lives in Australia to be a director of the company, because the company does need a director. That's something that the Immigration Department is working with our company regulator on a way around that requirement. But that might typically be the case anyway if you get investment locally, and for your startup, if you get a seed investor or a Series A, where the investor will want a seat on the board, they'll typically be Australian residents, obviously based here.
So you don't need to set. I mean, when you come down, you don't need to set up a company immediately.
No, you can set up a business name, business. The company you will need if you want to start issuing shares. But until that point, you can come here, set up a business, and open a bank account and start operating, trading, issue invoices, accept income, etc., with no problem.
Without having a company.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But at the point you wish to raise capital and issue shares, issue equity, you will need a company, and at that point you'll need a nominal figurehead Australian director who can be the responsible person on the board.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So if let's say I'm a Hong Kong entrepreneur, I go to your South Australia, open a bank account, how do I do the parent subsidiary setup? Because the money is coming from Hong Kong, going to there, so I don't need a director at that time, right? But how can you structure in a way that there is a parent and child relationship?
Well, if it was a parent-child relationship, so if it was a subsidiary of a company in Hong Kong, you would either just have the company in Hong Kong own the business that was established. So the business name can still be business name, and all the assets, IP, etc. here can be owned by a parent company elsewhere. And as I understand it, then if you then wish to raise equity in the subsidiary business, you would then have to create a company and go from there.
So at that time, if it's wholly owned by the Hong Kong or Japanese parent company, does that consist of owning a share, or can we do without a local Australian director? Because that's the most asked question when I help start a team to go to Japan, Taiwan, and Thailand.
Yeah, sure. So I'll have to come back to you on that. I don't think it's an issue. So my understanding is if whoever is here operating the business sets up a business name, and that business name is an asset like anything else, any, obviously branding or IP that is generated under the ownership of that business as an entity, because it's still an Australian business number, is still an entity in its own right. So, I don't think that requires any shares. You just, Hong Kong business would be the Hong Kong company would be the one that owns the business that's set up here. That's my understanding of it. I can dig into it for you a little more deeply, David, if you like.
I think so far is amazing. Just one last question. Is there like a special economic zone? Let's say we want to bring a disruptive startup going to there. Is there a particular industry, for example, in Taiwan and in Okinawa, in Japan right now, they're looking for selfless drive cars. So they're actually carving out physical space for people to test. In Singapore, in Taiwan, we're basically looking into ICO, blockchain, STO. So any of these information that you can provide to us will help us to attract the right entrepreneur who actually would choose your country as a priority.
Yeah, sure. Like as I said, it's pretty broad. And if you look on the landing page, it does provide, I think, links through to some FAQs as well, which go into a lot of detail about the specific industry sectors that we're looking at. So, but like I said, it's pretty broad. Space and is certainly a focus because of the National Space Agency here. So, and then defence, South Australia currently builds all of the submarines and I think the frigates and all the naval warships are all built here. So there's a lot of focus on defence and cybersecurity and things like that. So there's a few sweet spots. We're also a massive food and wine producer, so there's a food bowl, ag tech focus, and as I said earlier, the universities collaborated on Adelaide University has a Institute of Machine Learning that's one of the most highly ranked or respected institutions worldwide in that space. So there's a number of different verticals, but there are certainly FAQs, frequently asked questions, linked from that landing page as well.
Yeah, Jens here. Because I think some questions will come up. Like if you don't have a company, if it's then is it a limited liability what you have and all that stuff? Because that probably those will come. So
yeah, correct. So and there is information about that in the FAQs. But yeah, one of the protections of having a company is that it is limited liability. That is limited to the company. If it's someone owning the business doesn't have that separation of liability. So, but most people starting companies don't consider that much of an objection or a hurdle to starting a business and something you can deal with down the track. I'm not sure how much damage you can.
It's interesting to learn about different countries, because I've been here for 20 years in Hong Kong. If you do it without a company, you have full liability, but that's why you set up a company with $1, and that's your limited liability. So it's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think in the path, in terms of setting up a business first and then creating a company, that's typically the path that we expect most of the entrepreneurs on the visa to go down until things change at the regulator level.
All right, any other questions? Okay, well, thanks everybody for taking time to be on the call, and you know where to find us if anything else arises.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks, Candice.
For sure.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Happy Friday, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
nice
Stella.
day,
Thanks,
night,
everyone.
morning.
Thanks, Candice. Thanks, Candice. See you guys.
Hope to see you guys again.
For
Bye.
sure. Take care.
Bye bye.